Welcome, Craig. Thank you for joining us, Craig, on this beautiful evening of April the 6th, 2025, in the year 3000. We're here tonight, gathered to be one as one and be only one. Exactly. Welcome to the Believe Me If You Don't podcast, where we talk about literally nothing that is important. Because we aren't important people, individuals. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Split Fiction. Spoilers ahead, just FYI. I am joined by, what do you want to be called? We don't say last names.
It'd be nice to know before coming into this. That's cool.
I told you there's no structure. We don't structure around here. We just talk.
America.
All right. Well, we got America here joining me. America and I played Split Fiction. We completed it last week. When did this game come out?
Last Thursday we played it. No, Wednesday.
Last Wednesday?
Yes. Yes, because Verdansk came out Thursday.
Yes. Yes. So we played Split Fiction. It came out March 6th. We completed it last Wednesday. Took us around 10 hours, I think. And we completed, we did all the side missions as far as I know. I don't know how the freak we do that super extra side mission that those one people did, but now we only completed one go round of it. If you know anything about these games, the developers called Hazelight Studios. They've made Split Fiction now, It Takes Two, and A Way Out. Basically, they're co-op adventure games, and there's two characters in each one. And I'm pretty sure to get the best or get fully out of it, you're supposed to play both sides of it.
Could be where that side mission's at. Might have to complete both rounds.
Could be, yeah. Not 100% sure. I'd have to actually look it up and see how they did it or whatever. Maybe I don't think we missed something. I'd have to go actually look back through the chapter select. So, but yeah, basically, so Split Fiction is Hazelight's newest game, co-op adventure game. It's two women. They are writers. One does science fiction and the other does fantasy. Mio, which America played as, she does science, and I played as Zoe, who writes fantasy. So like I said, spoilers if you don't want to listen to it. Not that anyone's ever going to listen to this, but you're starting out. These two characters are trying to get published. They've never been published. They've been writing. I don't know. It doesn't tell us how long they've been writing, but they write, and they are going to this publishing company called Raider Studios or something like that. I don't know, something Raider, and they heard that they could easily just get published, but the head guy he's taking a bunch of writers, and everyone's told that you're just really coming in there and you're trying to give your stories out, but how they're going to do it is a new technology, and they're going to take it from your memories and shit like that, essentially. So the background of that, and they get into these bubbles, and Mio or Zoe is, I think she's just like a happy-go-lucky person. She just does whatever, and she just hops in the bubble and is ready to go. Mio she was all for it because she wants to be published, and then she's like backing out of it. And as soon as her bubble is about to close, she jumps out and she jumps accidentally into Zoe's, and like that's where the split comes and happens. And they're called what the frick were they called? Not ripples, but
Talking about glitches.
yeah, the glitches. Yeah, they're glitches. So she causes the glitches essentially at end of each chapter. To get to the next one, you have to jump through a glitch. So, uh, what what is your thoughts on that whole premise of the beginning of it?
Talking about like the scenario of them falling into the same bubble and then that creating the ripple or glitch in
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
basically
yeah.
in their mind. Pretty neat. Definitely outside a stance where never seen it before. About the only thing I would say close to the mind games would be the beginning of like say Kingdom Hearts, where you're in Sora's mind and you're going through all those little phases of, I guess, learning how to play the game in a sense of tutorial. But
True.
it was definitely interesting. You know, beginning was slow in the stance of, there's a lot of talking more than usual games.
Yeah, definitely a lot. But
A lot of dialogue.
well, not. I mean, yeah, yeah.
For a 10-hour game, we probably listened to, if we listened to all of it, probably about 2 hours of dialogue.
Right. Um, I mean, I think that's their type of games though, because like it takes two. There was a lot of cutscenes and a lot of talking because that's how they had to really set it up and stuff. So this one
Yep.
as well, but I think it was done well because throughout the chapters and everything like that, they give us a little bit more backstory because if these two characters have never met, and one of them is really standoffish and the other one is pretty like, hey, I'll be your friend or whatever, let's work together and stuff like that. But um what did you overall think of your character that you played, Mio?
I enjoyed it. I mean, some aspects of like say comparison of the two, like say what abilities did we have? It was one of the stories we had. One certain abilities, like I felt like mine was just yeah, and then yours was so overpowered it was ridiculous. There's the whip. Remember the whip? You kept killing me. Yeah, that one. That one was like it was literally like mine was and yours was just beating the shit out of everybody and me included, killing me multiple times.
Yeah.
And mine didn't hurt you hardly. Mine was like a fart in the wind. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as an aspect though, I think character wise was good. I think what should, in a sense, say if I was a developer, okay, so you set the storylines in a sense. Say since you bought the game, you played your character first, and then when we flop the change ends, I think the story should change. Like you're the main character, so whatever character you choose is the bubble that the person falls into, the other character falls into, and it creates a vice versa of the story effect.
Yeah. That, I mean, that could be pretty neat.
Because I mean we probably played say 8, maybe 6 stories apiece, maybe a little bit more, including the side ones. Uh, and obviously as a writer, I mean writers write numerous books, even small skits is what like the hot dog one or the tooth fairy one, or not tooth fairy, the dentist one. I think there's a lot more they could definitely exceed this to where it's more than 10 hours or 12 hours or 15 hours of game time to where it's, yeah, at least a 2 week span, maybe 3 week span. The game's the game's necessarily built to build a companionship more enjoyable with your friends, your family, your loved ones, whatever, because couples were playing it together.
Yeah. Every one that they've developed so far as I know, is really built for like um co-op and couples. Like It Takes Two. I know you never played it or whatever, but the two characters are going through a divorce, so I'm sure couples that played that would that if they were going through something like that would be able to connect. Some of the things like this video game
But
podcast what
I don't think two people getting divorced should play a divorce game. Just throwing it out there. Anyways, good.
maybe they could that
Yeah.
could really connect them, and then they'd be
Oh yeah.
like,
Hey, do we take these steps to get divorced? Yes, we do. Anyways, good. What's this called?
comedian.
I thought I could talk to my wife later. Anyways, good.
Crap. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought. No. What was I gonna say? It Takes Two. I don't know. Zoe, I will say Zoe was fun. I liked her banter. She was pretty neat. But yeah, I think that would be an interesting concept if the person who owns the game that it the
Based on
first
the storyline.
yeah, it's that
Like,
person,
or
and
is it
then
the
if you were to flip it,
movies, alternate endings, alternate ending.
yeah, like Black Mirror or whatever. I think it's Black
Yeah.
Mirror. Yeah, that'd be pretty neat. But yeah, so far I've played two of their three games, and like when Donkey and I played It Takes Two, we didn't go back and do the other one. But there was definitely some times where one character seemed like they had the better powers or whatever abilities. So yeah, I would 100% agree that some of Zoe's seemed cooler, and some of mine, or some of yours seem cooler. Like, uh, so going through some of the chapters, I'm trying to remember.
The first one was the ogre run.
Yeah,
That was
that
pretty
one
cool.
it was definitely neat. I think it was obviously the weakest of any chapter, but it was the starting chapter.
Well,
So it was
it's
just trying
tutorial
to,
in a sense.
yeah, trying to get
Teach you
us.
that. Yeah. To teach
Um,
you that this is what's going to be. Like you're going to have to learn your angles, learn where to do this or where to jump, where the you gotta know your surroundings of sense of okay, you gotta jump this way or you might be going one direction, it's gonna mislead you to go the other direction type deal.
right.
But then you had your side mission of probably one of the funnest ones yet. The how hot dogs are made.
That was freaking
That
insane.
was that was the funnest. I don't know, like child humor, but hilarious thing I've ever done.
You literally had a pig who farted to go, and it farted
Yeah,
rainbows, and I
yeah,
was a
like elastic stretch
yeah,
type. It looked like you extended in a spring luck
yeah.
animation. It's pretty cool. And then you turn it. Then literally the darkest thing ever. You jump into a picnic basket, into a grinder, and it grinds you into a hot dog. Then I get grilled and get mustard and ketchup put on me, and I get eaten. Thought it was the coolest thing.
It was fun as shit.
It was. Yeah, that was. I mean, that was a highlight. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Like,
um, so to go through some of the abilities and just talk about who probably had the better ones. So chapter 3 was shape shifting. You got to be a gorilla, and I got to
yeah, that
be a tree. So I think yours was probably the more fun one ability there. Um, but I don't know. I'd have to play as the monkey, and hang around and
Yeah, I
shit.
mean, it was cool. I'm not knocking by any means, Harambe or Epi. But yours is basically Groot off of Guardians of the Galaxy. Copyright,
Yeah,
not copyrights. But it was it was semi equal, I think, in a sense. Nothing crazy.
yeah. And then chapter 2 is the one that you were talking about a little bit earlier, and that this is definitely the bigger one. The gravity sword and whip. So you're
Yes.
in like a Tron. I wouldn't know. The Tron one was a little bit later, but like hers is still science and science fiction and shit. But you got a sword, and my whip was insane.
Yes.
I could
Is
literally
OP.
kill you.
It may take 18 swings and maybe hurt you finally. Yeah. Little equal.
um,
Uh,
chapter 4, the red gun, blue gun. That wasn't too bad as
that was
far
the
as I
same one,
remember.
it really. When it just same shooting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Chapter 7, the spirit powers. Holy shit, your dumbass eagle
By
was
who?
so annoying, or
An
owl
a-
was
yeah, it's
so
Al, bro.
annoying. Oh my god, were you doing it on purpose, or was it doing it itself?
No, no, it does so. Literally just does so. Every time I throw it, yeah.
Oh my god, I wanted to just murder in game this owl.
Yeah. But now
But
they had to. It's like a Harry Potter thing in a sense.
oh yeah, yeah.
Had them Dementors popping up about daggum kill me twice. I mean, they're coming out of nowhere and you can't see them because I mean they just pop up.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat though. It's like throw the light at them, throw the owl at them, it lights them up, blows them up.
Yeah. I wouldn't say there was one or the other was overpowered, but for that one, it was more of the aspect of like, yours does this to help out the team, yours does this. So it's
Yeah,
more of working together on those. Um, so,
I agree. I don't think
uh,
that one was pretty semi equal. I mean, I'm not gonna say if we rerun that and be, hey, I get to have those powers.
yeah. Chapter 8, that's called Split Fiction. This is where this was insane. I didn't even realize that they could do this technology wise, but 2025, where we were running during the boss fight, and it was showing
Oh yeah.
actually the both worlds, and we can go in and out the worlds. That was insane.
Yeah, bro, I got ate by a megalodon. Jason Statham couldn't even dodge that bitch, bro. It's fucking wild. Look, it was neat. It was definitely recommend if you have epilepsy,
Do not
any
play.
kind of chronic illnesses with deals with lights and stuff. Don't play it. Don't. Or vertigo. If you have vertigo, you just don't do it. It's a waste. You're not making it, bro.
Put a
Just ain't
warning on it.
can't. Yeah, I mean, there probably is a warning.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Don't do not seek that treasure.
Do not seek the treasure. Uh, Chapter 5 was the Dragon Twins. I think you easily got the better dragon. Mine was just a roly dude. You got literal fire.
I don't know. Okay, the flying aspect, I didn't. It wasn't as good as it could be. The rolling aspect was cool. Yeah, that looks neat. Obviously, the visuals, yours look better. I think in the sense of just like all the dragon theme stuff I played or
Right.
stop movies, whatever. But the rolling aspect was a whole lot better, faster. We did a lot of running downhill in a sense, or rolling downhill for you, or flying downhill. My flying was it was really slow. It was just keeping it PG. It was slow.
Tro.
Um, but now yes, the fire was better in a sense of ability for the dragon.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
the aging of the dragon was cool. Quick concept. Gold dragon was pretty neat. Pretty cool. That was one of the favorite parts of the game, obviously.
right. And then the other one, chapter 6, the morph balls. So I got gravity, and you got like little drones, I think.
Yeah, I got to hack stuff, so like
Yeah,
mine
yeah,
was
hack
mostly
stuff.
hacking.
Oh,
Definitely
I
enjoyed
think,
mine.
yeah, I think yours was a little bit better.
Yeah, I enjoyed mine. Like that was cool. That was that was awesome.
Yeah.
Reminds me of like Ratchet and Clank,
A little bit, yeah, for sure.
because yeah, Clank the little robot used to have to do those little puzzles and stuff to open doors and stuff.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat.
Uh, but yeah, some of the abilities were a little bit more overpowered than the others, but I think they're there to try and work as a team in a sense. Um, so, and if one
We can't do
person, yeah, if one person doesn't necessarily help you with their power, then you can't actually progress. So, I definitely was a dick sometimes, and I would just to see, and you were
sometimes.
too.
Sometimes.
But it was
Sometimes.
fun that you could do those things because
Yeah.
it would be kind of dumb if you had a co-op game where it would just be like, just even if you had different abilities, you were just playing or whatever, and
Yeah, you couldn't hurt each other.
yeah, you couldn't hurt each other essentially, and you could just keep going throughout the game. Like the one person could carry, so that'd be kind of dumb. So I'm glad that they have that aspect because it does promote you working with another individual. So,
Yeah.
um, so some of the boss fights, I'm on just a random website. I don't remember how many exact boss fights there are, but this one gives the top, the 10 best boss battles ranked. So we'll see how we have this. At 10, they have the Ice King, the cat, or whatever.
Yeah, that was
It was a neat one,
that.
but it definitely wasn't
That.
hard. It took
Yeah.
us a minute. Um,
Just to figure out the gist of it,
yeah, for
what to
sure.
do.
Next one we have the EXE, the robot one that had the fist and shit. Where I took it and hit him in the face. No, that was your
That's
power was
me.
hit him in the face.
Yeah.
So I think that one was it was a little
Yeah.
hectic for
It
sure.
was at first, yeah. It was pretty wild. The hit range on some of his stuff was impressive.
Yeah. Next up we got the conductor, the one that is like Galaga type deal, where we're ships trying to fight that robot looking thing.
You talking about the speed ticket person or whatever, the ticket person?
Yeah, I
Uh,
think so.
is it?
It's called the conductor. It was the train heist side story.
Yes, okay, yeah, it was in that one. It was in that part, but it wasn't that person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was pretty neat.
Yeah, what about?
Um, the pin. It's called Pin Bowser. That's the one that I guess you had to play. You were the flippers in a pinball machine essentially, and I had to roll my
Oh,
ball.
that was cool.
Yeah, that
That
one
was
was neat
that was neat.
for
That was
sure.
hard.
That's one of those things like if you are not working together or one of the people is just a little bit slower, it's not going to work, unfortunately, and you're not going to get through it if they.
Yeah, that was insane. That was neat.
um. Next up at 6, we got the Hydra. Hydra was okay. It wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite. Yeah, I thought it was too easy. I thought that was easy compared to most.
Yeah,
But we didn't. I don't think we struggled with that one.
yeah. Next up at 5, we got the Overseer. That's the one we had the guns, red and blue gun. It's kind of like Mega
Yeah,
Man type deal.
yeah,
Yeah, it was neat. It took us a second right there at the end to figure out how to chop off his head.
yeah.
But this one I really liked. Number 4, Dark Mio.
That was neat. Yeah, the one where you had to be inside its head. That was pretty
Yeah,
neat. Yeah, it was wild. It was hard. Like I
I
wouldn't say it was
want.
hard. I wouldn't say it's hard. Just inside, when you, like as Mia, she predicted your moves, so it was rough.
Yeah, I definitely want to play that side of it and see how that works. Because the outside wasn't hard. The only thing was semi hard is if I kept messing up and hitting the ball incorrectly.
Yeah.
I wish it had a little bit more of like aim assist in a sense, because if you were not directly lined up with her ass, you were not hitting her. So it was like a wasted time.
No
But
pun intended.
Tro.
He has a kid.
Number 3, Megalith, the big ass dragon.
Yeah, that was neat. That was good. I don't know. It was that was pretty easy. Man.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty. It was cool. Don't get me wrong. It was cool. I mean, I'm a sci-fi person all day. Or fantasy person all day. I love dragons and shit like that. But it was easy compared to other games.
Yeah, I think Dark Mio was harder.
Yeah.
Next up, this one was fun as shit. The Dentist.
Yes, favorite one. That'd be number one. Thought that was awesome.
was so
I
weird.
loved it. It was the darkest Friday Night Freddy's type of feeling, or
Yeah.
I don't know. It was dark. It went from rainbow sunshines and candy and shit, and then it goes into this Friday Night Freddy's. I'm about to lose my soul type of deal. Yeah, it's pretty neat. It was dark. It's awesome.
Yeah. And then the last one, number 1, is
But
Raider.
look, can we talk about that real quick? So if you think about that girl was sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that whole story had nothing to do with sci-fi. Even the ending of the sense was shouldn't have been sci-fi. Don't know when did she change her draw. Like I said, add more stories in her sense or a different storyline. That has nothing to do with her genre of sci-fi.
Yeah.
So what
I
other
think
ones could they included in a sense?
Yeah. I think it was just a trauma story or whatever from her childhood. Didn't she say it was like one
Well,
of her first ones?
yeah, it was a birthday where then she had to go see a dentist or something after her birthday. But
Yeah.
see, that Mio had so much trauma. I mean, her dad died and this and that. I mean, she had a lot more. I think trauma stories we could have went into.
Yeah, for
Sadly,
sure. And then the number 1 boss fight was Raider. I think his was
to the end,
awesome.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, that was just. I ain't gonna say the fight was awesome. It was just aspects and everything around it and stuff we ain't never seen before. And I mean,
Yeah.
Jesus, the graphics card on your computer was probably going fucking wild over there. Damn near ready to blow up.
Yeah. It did. This
Like,
game did not like. I couldn't do anything outside. I couldn't like shift over to a website or something if I wanted to, because it was very intense.
yeah, it was awesome.
But yeah, it
My
was definitely
computer,
a fun.
my Xbox sounded like it said, "Ooh." I mean, it ain't never made that sound till now. So I don't know if I put the hardness on it.
Yeah. No, it was definitely a fun ass fight. So in terms of the characters, did you feel like you connected with them in a sense? Did you feel like they were good characters, like well written or anything?
Well, I can't really say connected with Mio because I don't have that.
Right, yeah.
Her father died. Her father died. Yeah, all that stuff. But in the sense of like saying you that darkness person gets you through life. Dark Mio was there for her when she got her through life and stuff, but she bottled it away. You know, after it helped her get where she wouldn't be. I mean, I say every person can connect with that. I mean, everybody's been through a dark time in their life. You know, there's up and downs. So definitely believe that could be connectable in my sense or anybody else's sense. The character's well written. Um, kind of beat around the bush a lot at the beginning. I felt like it was could have come. I think Dark Mio could have came a little earlier. Cause I don't think going Dark Mio and then we went into Dark Zoe and then we went into straight into Raider. I think that's too much of an epic build up where you're saying like you said, Mio was a great fight. And then you going into Zoe and hers wasn't bad at all. Then you're going into Raider, who's really good, but you're trying to say like it's like season 6 of Games of Thrones was epic, and then you go to season 7's trash.
True.
You can't, but it had so much to come off the back end, like Avengers, you know, what's it called? What's the last movie?
Endgame?
Yeah, Endgame. There's no way to up that. There's no way because you're basically starting the story right back over to your building days of Iron Man, Thor, or whatever. So I feel like Dark Mio should have been a little earlier. Not so sensitive because it was a short game in a sense, but
Yeah. No, I
definitely
could definitely see that.
because you live epic, 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 epic. It's just too much epic.
True.
Back to back to back.
Yeah. I think that's maybe what they were trying to do though was build it up a little bit more, but it did take it. Those first couple chapters could have been. I think the first couple chapters were too long, and the later chapters were too short,
Like I
and they
said, yeah.
should have flipped it around a little bit more, or cut them in half essentially, like cut. So if you look at how the chapters go, basically the intro level 1 or whatever is the ogres and shit, and as soon as you get into 2, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11 like sections that you go through, and 3 side stories in the first level or the second level. But if you compare that to say level 7 or chapter 7, there's only 6 areas that you go to. And then chapter 8, there is 3, 6, 9. So like I think if they would have split those up a little bit more and made the chapters shorter in a sense, but made more chapters to kind of break it up a little bit more. And I think you're right. They could have definitely explored a little bit more of each person's story. They could have come up with something more for Mio, and things like that. So it was definitely a building aspect, but I think the way they built it was one of the more negative things to say about the game, in a sense. So, in terms of connecting with the characters, yeah, I didn't necessarily connect with them about their traumas like that because Mio's dad is sick. Did it say cancer? I don't remember. I think it said
I
sick.
thought it did say cancer, but it
It
might be
might
wrong.
have said
I
it
thought
might
it
have,
was cancer.
but I mean, most assumptions is when somebody says that their parent or whoever is sick, it's most of the time it is cancer.
Wait, he passed away too, so
At the end, yeah.
yes.
The whale one though was definitely one of the best stories of the entire game of how it connected with her dad, or not the. It was a squid. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
That one
Well, that's
was
what.
great.
Yeah, and see that was cancer because man, is all the doctors and stuff and tired.
Right. Yeah.
Running tests, running tests, running tests, hoping he'd get better, and he didn't. Yeah, it was cancer.
Yeah. And then Zoe's was about basically every story was keeping her sister alive in a sense, hoping
Yeah,
that she would grow.
keeping the memory. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was great. And when we found out that it was an accident and everything like that, and Zoe blames herself for everything, and that's why most of her stories, the way they played out, was like that. I think Zoe's was, in terms of trauma, would have been a little bit easier to connect with. Um, how she kept the memories alive, but Mio's was a little bit darker. But obviously, we saw the dark Mio, so it kind of makes sense. Um, But yeah, the main podcast that I listened to, they thought this game was great, but what brought it down was the two characters you can't necessarily connect with, and I get that. It takes two characters. I still didn't connect with them when I definitely played that. I didn't connect with them, and even now I don't connect with them in a sense. But I think it was a little bit more heartfelt because they were an actual couple. The suggestion that podcast had, and this would honestly would have made a little bit more sense. Instead of them being writers, they should have been game developers.
Yeah, they
And
brought
that
in
kind
other
of
game designs too.
yeah, and that honestly, they would still tell their stories, but it'd be through games in their genre. So I think that could have been a little bit better for people to connect with the characters. So, but Hazelight, I'm sure will do the next one that they do. They could easily turn around and maybe do something a little bit like that. It Takes Two, one game of the year. It's still selling millions of copies, and it still it sells that millions of amount of copies, and it has the Friends Pass. And now with Split Fiction, they did the game or the Friends Pass even more like bigger because for It Takes Two, you can only play on one platform. Like I would have had to play on Xbox or something like that. It didn't go. Split Fiction is everything. One person buys the game, you can send it to any other platform. That's awesome. I wish more developers would do that, but I get it from a money aspect. But Split Fiction has already sold millions of copies in the last month. So, um, but yeah, this game was awesome. I was fully awake with this game, which says something because I think this is on Game of the Year radar as well as Monster Hunter is. But, and you can attest to this, early on in Monster Hunter, we were both falling asleep. So I was fully engaged with this.
Yes. Uh, Monster Hunter is, like I said, I enjoy it. It's just playing at night, and it's not a fast-paced game by any means. And the development of joining up is broken. I,
Stupid.
the way it looks is supposed to be like, I guess, like story. Yeah, like the story mode. You're meant to do it yourself, and then afterwards is what you're supposed to join up as a friend. I gotta get through story mode. I don't think I made it past chapter 2 yet. It's
Nice.
just, but it's also finding time to do it and not at nighttime, and it just can't do nighttime.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I will say I've beat the game, but I only play it in very small increments because every time you go through a chapter or whatever, the hunts are going to start to get longer and longer and longer, so you can't play as long. So basically, I was getting to a point. I was playing on my lunch break. I would get like one hunt done. So that's how I seem to consume Monster Hunter a little bit better. So that's would be my only suggestion is maybe do a hunt or two every so often. But yeah, for Split Fiction, I think we could have easily we could knock this out in like maybe 2 to 3 nights, but just the way we play anyways, it was throughout a few nights. However, we did it all the way through. There wasn't really any stopping or anything like that, and we were both fully engaged. I was reading
Yeah,
everything that they were saying, watching the cutscenes, and the gameplay was fun enough um, to keep me engaged.
yeah, I'd say it wasn't a boring game. Definitely enjoyed it. Yeah, I didn't struggle to actually stay awake. Definitely was hard to like say get off sometimes because if I was awake, I'm like, well, I could keep playing, but after 1 o'clock, 6 o'clock comes early.
True.
But I definitely enjoy
Um,
it. I could say I could stay up and beat. Like that'd been a game I could play overnight. Say, was able to do that in younger, obviously, but
yeah.
could beat it one time.
Uh, yeah. But yeah, the
Definitely.
game was awesome. 100% enjoyed it. A lot. Every This is 100% a recommended game to anybody, especially if you have a friend that you maybe don't even get to play with a lot, or you do get to play with a lot. Either way, I think it's going to be a great time. So out of 10, what would you give it?
From my perspective, and I've played It Takes Two, just not all the way through. I I enjoy it. I'd say, just from a casual point, I've mostly play obviously Call of Duty or used to be Fortnite type deals, Battle Royales. But from this point of a game like this, I'd give it a 10 out of 10. There's not much more you could improve on it. Like I said, the only thing I would suggest changes of that maybe in the further future, or there's possibilities of advancement. But other than that, I'd give it 10 out of 10. I've already thought about it being game of the year because there's not many games actually out yet that I would recommend game of the year. Monster Hunter, like I said, uh, group play is broken. So to me, it falls apart in my head because that's what I was basing it on. Like this game, I knew coming in what it was in a sense of teaming up, playing. I've watched a couple streamers before we even bought it. So it hit every aspect I enjoyed. I ain't laughed that hard in a minute at a video game. I really enjoyed video game besides in a while. Yeah, during COVID, pre-COVID type deal.
Tro. Um, yeah. Uh, hmm, Definitely the nines, maybe the 9.5, 9.5. I do agree. We didn't necessarily talk about it, but you said it while we were playing. You think it could have been a little bit harder. I agree
Yes.
with that. Maybe they could put some aspects of actual difficulties settings that you can choose from. But my only thing is that's probably only going to change the bosses. It's not going to change how the puzzles work.
I think, obviously, I don't think the puzzles in a sense somewhat were really easy, but we're coming from 30-year-old man that know how. We play video games most of our fucking lives, so I don't
Yeah,
think even puzzle severity, like I said, Ratchet and Clank at the very beginning, some of them damn puzzles are hard as shit. But playing number two, playing number three, obviously it got easier. Um, so like the advancement of playing video games would help with puzzles. But like say a death rate, like we died at one point. I think we died like 8 times in a row, maybe more than that. That shouldn't be. That should restart us in a sense. It should not take us back straight to like the platform you fell off of, or when we died in a boss. When we died in the boss, say it was half health. We both of us died. It came back half health still. We didn't have to go all the way back to when it was at full health. That severity of hardness should be in the game at all times in any game.
yeah, I could agree on that part.
Like we were dicking off on that one. I was a robot and I had my Pinocchio nose, going out for you. You literally punched me off of every cliff every time we passed one.
You're
To me,
welcome.
I appreciate you, but like that right there is like a granted funny, loved it. It's time, it's fun. Um, but the severity of like that wasn't even hard, like in a general of saying puzzles. But dying, I died every what? So it's by like 8, 10 steps. I died 10 times in a row, and I just respawned right back at the place where I fell off of. So, yeah, I think that could have been the hardest point. That could have been easily fixed. and not even
Yeah.
hard to just in general of any video game.
True. Yep. Game is lit. Definitely could change just a little bit things and make it an even better game. So I'm sure Hazelight's going to take all this feedback and their numbers and everything like that and apply it to their next game whenever that does end up coming out. And when that does come out, we will 100% play that.
Yep.
So, it currently sits at a 91 on Metacritic. So, it will be in the conversation for Game of the Year.
It's good because it'll only grow.
Yeah.
Word of mouth definitely helps. I've definitely told other gamers about it and suggested other people who like play with friends constantly or stuff like that.
Yep.
I definitely enjoy it.
True. Well, that has been our review on Split Fiction between me and America. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Yeah, it's my first podcast. That's interesting. Not having a layout kind of, screwed me. Just because in
Trust
my head, I like structure.
Yeah, we have no structure for a reason.
Yep.
Our
Yeah, I know.
first couple
Even though,
episodes were so
even though
horrible.
you definitely still had a structure. It sounded like, but in your own structure.
No structure is the best structure.
You're lying. You had a structure. You could tell.
Yeah,
Anyways, anywho, yeah, I enjoyed. Game was good. Look forward to playing more games. We talk about. I can talk about Verdansk all day. It's pretty good. It's back.
Yes, we will be definitely having an episode about that.
Yep. Maybe we can get Donkey and Kiwi on. And
Well, yep.
yeah.
I mean, the quibby and bitches.
And Donkey's out there slaying. What is it? Plays WoW. They got
getting them mounts
dwarfs.
in World of Warcraft.
Wow.
Wow. Well, we'll end it there. It's been great. We do have a sign off, and we mess it up every time intentionally. So you can say whatever you want to after I say it. So, and remember, you can continue to believe us if you don't.
Right.
Good night.